It's a weird thing to see, though. Weird thing to see. Who knows what's going to happen next? No one knows what's going to happen next, right? And I think we're at perfect timing. 7 seconds left on this. I have no other thoughts on this. No other thoughts on this. So let's move on to our next story. American Manhunt with Osama bin Laden. Let me make my notes. 4711. And that's Trump and Elon. We're making good time. We're making good time on this. We're making great time on this. All right. American Manhunt. Osama bin Laden. So this is what we're going to talk about for the next, we're going to give this maybe like 13 minutes, 14 minutes. This was really good. 3 episodes, documentary on Netflix, going into 9/11, going into Osama bin Laden. And it makes you just proud to be an American, this documentary. I'm going to go over a couple things with this, what I liked about it, what it is. It makes you proud to be an American, right? It makes you think about the attack that is 9/11. This happened when I was 1. 9/11, 2001. I was born in 2000. I was 1 year old, about 1.5 when this happened. Listening to everything that went into the attack itself on 9/11, the people that died, how it affected the country, just the things that Bush said when he was in president, Obama said when he became president, and then afterwards everything that went into trying to get Osama bin Laden. Everything was just crazy with this. I want to talk about how bad bin Laden and Al-Qaeda was, how much shit they were doing leading up to 9/11, and even after 9/11, just how big of a deal. And I grew up with the war, when the war in Iraq and everything, so I know about it. It's a part of my life, but just the documentary went into things, made such a big deal of how evil bin Laden was and how important it was to kill him. Just how amazing our intelligence agencies are and the information gathering parts of the operation of killing him was. Just our intelligence agencies are dogs. Thinking about SEAL Team 6 and them actually training and then going and killing Osama bin Laden, absolute dogs. How much of a dog Obama was, and we'll get into that. We're going to get into all of this. And then the end, something the guy saying that we may have won the battle with killing Osama bin Laden, but bin Laden won the war because he weakened America. And this is something that one of the people in the documentary, they had SEAL Team 6 members. They had people on that were the leader of the CIA or the director of the CIA when Bush was president and when Obama was president, members of the CIA, members in intelligence. And there was one of the intelligence people who at the end made a comment that was interesting that we're going to get into, that saying that we had to, well, he didn't say this, but he said we won his exact words were, we won the battle with killing Osama bin Laden, but we might have lost the war because of how bad he weakened us. So we're going to get to all that. But first thing I want to start off with this. Bin Laden. First 2 episodes, they were going into just how lit bin Laden was, for lack of a better term, at the beginning. Before he was bombing shit, just bombing train stations. He was extremely scary. And then even after 9/11, he was bombing inside of CIA territories and all the shit he was doing beforehand and after. There was a story of bin Laden, they found, and we'll get to it more and I get into everything, but our counterintelligence agencies was able to find a carrier. I'm going to say what it is. Let me look at this. A courier is the word for it. Let's see. Definition. Courier definition. I know I'm saying that word right. But a person employed to guide and assist a group of terrorists. So we found a courier, or they were trying to flip. Well, no, that's another thing. They were trying to flip people back and forth to work for America, but also work for bin Laden, Al-Qaeda, and give us information. One of those people came into an American territory, bombed it, and then filmed all the shit bin Laden was doing. They made a really good job at that in 2 days, in the first 2 episodes, of making it seem like this guy's evil and he has to be killed. Then our intelligence agencies and getting the information, everything, right? Finding the compound and getting Osama bin Laden by the way he walks. The work, the years, some of them even die. Some of the CIA intelligence members dying to try to find this guy, to try to get information. I talked about that 2 minutes ago. Working 7 days a week, no rest, stress on family and mentally. How they were able to find this guy. It was our intelligence that found them, and then our excellent SEAL Team 6 who executed. And we'll get to that more, but one of the big things with our intelligence agencies that I want to talk about a lot with that was insane to me from this documentary. Where are we sitting at here? 8 minutes, we're good. They found this compound. We'll get to it more when we talk about SEAL Team 6 and them going in to get it. They found this compound, saw this man walking, and they said, by the from satellites, the way this guy's walking, he seems about the height of Osama bin Laden, looking at the shadow to get the height. And then they were looking at videos that they had of Osama bin Laden talking, looking at the way he walks, just his walking pattern, and comparing it to the walking pattern of this man that they were seeing walking in this compound around. And they were like, we have like a percentage of a chance that it could be Osama bin Laden. We're not sure. Just the thought of the intelligence to get that and get that have that information together, and then put it in a way where it's able to actually make sense is just insane to me. And then again, Obama not knowing for sure. We'll get to this because this is one of the things that makes me think Obama is one of them ones, and I think everybody in Washington in that time probably has a respect for Obama. Obama not knowing for sure it was bin Laden, but still calling the hit on the compound that they found to go get this guy was amazing. But let me go to SEAL Team 6 now, or SEAL Team 6 for dogs. The first thing that was interesting to me was I didn't know why it was called SEAL Team 6. Honestly, I never thought about it. I had to look this up too. Why would the documentary lie? I will say I'm a journalist, so I always have a little bit of like, I take everything with a grain of salt, or I think of how everything could not be true. But why is it called SEAL Team 6? Apparently, they had SEAL Team 1, 2, and 3, and they were trying to like trick the Russians by calling it SEAL Team 6, so the Russians would be like, we're SEAL Team 4, 5, 6, right? Like officially known as the Naval Special Warfare. I'm not gonna say that. Named in a deliberate attempt to mislead Soviet intelligence about the number of U.S. SEAL teams. That's just another thing they go into with the thinking that was insane. Like, it's wild. It's wild. W journalists, thank you. You know, sometimes I think I go too far into not believing things, but you have to. I feel like you have to. So a lot of times I realize I'm probably going too far into things, but that's not the point. Let me not get on another tangent. Then with SEAL Team 6, the training they did to get ready to get this guy and how badass they were, right? So the compound Osama bin Laden was killed in, right? So they found this compound because of the counterintelligence. And I want to just go into this, how insane this compound was, right? Let me see the camera. Let me move it so you guys can see this. Oh, bro, what's the best way to do this? Like, this is dang near the view on this is trash. At least so I can see. It's like 10-foot walls. Let me see. 14-foot walls, a balcony and terrace that's like 10, 15 feet. And it was sitting overlapping like in Pakistan. In Pakistan, one of like the most beautiful places with mountains, and it had walls all over it, and it's usually a terrorist place. So that's one of the counterintelligence where they were like, why would you have this compound here in this beautiful place and have all these walls? That was one of the things that they were like thinking, this is weird, he could be here. But this the SEAL team, to train for this, the CIA basically built a model graph. They used money to build a model graph or a model like representation to size of how big this compound was. They did the outside, which they had, and then the inside, they weren't sure what was inside. So every day they would tear it down because they didn't want anybody else to be seeing what they were doing, to get a chance of what they were working on. Keep in mind, when they're finding all this information, only like 4, 5, 6 people in the world know what's going on. When they let the SEAL Team 6 know you guys are going in, they're building this structure that's like this compound that they're seeing from satellites. They don't know what the inside is, but they're remaking the inside like every couple of days. Yeah, the Bin Laden doc on net, that's what I'm talking about right now. Like American Manhunt, Osama bin Laden, and how like surprised I am with everything and just what went into it. Again, I was born in 2000, so it's like something I grew up with, but something that I didn't know about a lot. It was something that I could know about and talking from living with it. But I'm not into war movies. I'm not a big war guy. As I'm getting older and doing more and like history more, I kind of becoming one. But this documentary, a lot of people might have known all this. I didn't. But again, back to what I was saying, they were training, building this. The SEAL Team 6 was going in every day, practicing going down from the helicopters into the compound, building the compound and tearing it down every day. The CIA, keep in mind, didn't know what was inside. So they were just building stuff, a different inside every time, to have them practicing. Like, what if it's this way? What if we walk in and it's just a bare space? What if we walk in and there's shit everywhere? What if we walk, like, you don't know what you're going into. So they're trying to account for every single possible move. It's like they're playing 3D chess. And just hearing them talk about it and hearing the SEAL team train and the CIA make this happen was honestly insane to see them getting there, right? So the training, insane. The SEAL team actually going and carrying out the move. So they have to go into Pakistani airspace, right? when they first get there, one of the planes crash and they have to land. There's two planes. One of the planes crash inside of the compound. They have to all get out. That's the first thing that like messes everything up. The other plane was supposed to land in the compound, but it landed outside of the compound. Other thing that messed it up. This is where the training gets in, because they had not just plan A, they had plan A, B, C, D to Z. Plan A didn't work. A plane crashed. No one died. I'll say that immediately. But the plane crashed. They have to get out in the first plane. The second plane has to get out. So again, just from the moment of what they're doing, how big of a deal Osama bin Laden was, you're getting this out and then you clash the plane. And of course, everybody knows they got the job done. That's in and of itself is insane. Just the fact of, let me keep reading. Just the fact of how much information they got from the compound after they killed him. When they got into the compound, they killed Osama bin Laden's son, killed Osama bin Laden. Didn't immediately, like, there was women there that they were using as shields, didn't kill the women in the other places of the compound. That's another thing that I want to mention with this. One of the things, the Israeli Hamas war is so nuanced. There's so much to it. But not the one thing I'll say for this episode, go to my YouTube, watch Geo Studios. I covered a lot. I try to keep it as nuanced, but I'll just say this quickly. I don't like or have respect for how Israel will bomb whole places and then say we were killing 2 people and we bombed and killed like 45, 100, 200 innocents to kill 3 bad Hamas people. And again, I always say Hamas should be deleted. They should be destroyed. But the way they're going about it, it is not anti-Semitic to question it, and it should be questioned. Obama found the information, and our SEAL Team 6 didn't say, we're going to bomb it. We're going to go in, and we're going to kill the people that need to be killed, and we're not going to kill American lives or lose American lives, and we're not going to kill innocent lives. That's a decision that's made, and the way my mind works, what would Biden have done? What would the president have done? The president now, Trump, would have done. The way they went in there and didn't kill any innocents is something that's not lost on me, and it could have been a different decision. But again, they got hella information from the compound, so they were in longer than they thought they would be. This is supposed to be 35 minutes, but it ended up being like 45 minutes that they were in the compound. Another thing that's insane is why this is happening. This is in Pakistan. Pakistan starts to realize what's happening. People living around there start getting at the end of the like compound and like saying what's going on, and they're in the American SEAL Team 6 is like, this is a training exercise, but we will kill you guys, back up. But they didn't kill them. That's important to me, but it also badass. Then them getting Osama bin Laden's body out of the compound, taking the body themselves, getting back into American airspace, and the guy was talking about how they had 90 minutes to get out of Pakistani airspace. They were being chased on a plane. Keep in mind, one of the planes crashed. They blew the plane up because there was sensitive information in the plane. All this is insane. This is badass. Blew the plane up. The one plane that's left, they take his body out, take all the SEAL Team 6 members that were in there, and they say we have 90 minutes to get out of Pakistani airspace and get into Afghan's airspace because Pakistan missiles or ships are chasing them. If we get caught, they could bomb us. We could lose American lives. They get back. And just hearing one of the things, like one of the SEAL Team 6 members was like, 90 minutes, I start my clock, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. This is an hour and a half that you're dealing with this. He was making it seem like this 90 minutes felt like 30 minutes. Just the anxiety. And he said he was quoting himself, right? There's just something that it was insane. He quoted Bush, like Bush quote. Let me find it. Bush quote on 9/11. Freedom was bombed today by a faceless coward. I know I spelled that wrong, but that should be good enough. All right, let me go to AI mode. Or I don't like AI mode. I like the dang. All right, we're at 10 minutes. All right, I'll be done with this. He said, freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended. I guess that's what he said. Did the plane have a black box? I'm not sure. They didn't say it in the documentary, but they just said that like the plane that crashed had sensitive information. So they bombed the plane before they left, took the plane with everybody else. They had the 90 minutes. And the guy, one of the SEAL Team 6 members was like, what do you say to calm yourself down? What are you doing? It might have been before they were first going, but he was basically re-quoting this back to himself. That was just a badass moment to me. And I had to get into this, how much of a dog Obama was, right? He didn't for sure know that they were getting bin Laden. They only knew that there were 3 families living in the compound, that the way the guy walked looked like bin Laden, and in the shadow of the guy looked like it could be bin Laden. They were like, how should we do this? They were talking to everybody. Obama, being a president, seems that listens to his council, listens to the people around him. He was asking everybody, and they didn't know that it was going to be, this was a big deal. They were not 100% sure it was bin Laden in that compound. Yeah, they blew up the plane because it was a classified helicopter, and they didn't want them to have that technology, which is one of the things they talk about, I will say, being honest, with Biden leaving the way that we left, I want to say Iraq, but the way the war ended with us leaving a lot of technology there, that's something that a lot of people speak badly about, but that could be a good on Obama, saying he's covering all bases, and we're talking about Obama. Let's move on. Let's keep going. I'm going to give 3 more minutes on this. I can cover the rest in 3 more minutes because we want to move on. We're trying to be structured on Guarantee News. So they didn't know it was bin Laden. It took monkey nuts for Obama to say, this is what he said. He said, yeah, he's gone too long without facing justice. So he was basically of the mindset, if we have a chance to get him, we're taking the chance to get them. It's that mixture of we're risking American lives and we're doing what we have to do to kill this man that has to be killed. But at the same time, we're going to make sure we do it in the safest way possible for American lives. Again, when Obama was talking to everybody about what they should do to this, he didn't listen to Biden saying, like Biden was, when he was asking, Biden was saying, no, we shouldn't take the risk because we don't know it's him. And this is just something that I noticed, that Obama didn't listen to Biden. Everybody knows Biden was Obama's vice president. I just see Obama being like, shut your ass up. Like, well, this little ass, we're not listening to him. Shut the fuck up. We're not listening to him. Hillary Clinton was, I forget what she was. People talk about Hillary Clinton. There's a million stories of Hillary Clinton. But she was saying we should do it. And a lot of the CIA directors were saying they should do it. I just want to think about Biden like that. I think it's kind of, I don't know. I can't make really anywhere opinions on that because who knows. But I do think it was cool that Obama was like vice president. Like, shut the fuck up. I'm not listening to you. I can just see Obama. I wonder if Obama even made the call to blow it up. It was probably general since it was an action. Yeah, maybe, but maybe not. The way that this is going to make me talk for longer. I feel like they don't do anything in that without going past Obama and without Obama giving the clear. Just the way that it seemed of how they were talking about it, I can see what you're saying, but I'm of the mindset that there's a lot of intricacies that maybe that they didn't tell Obama, because just the SEAL team, when you're in it, you do things at the moment. But there's something, I think there's a lot of ways you can go with even blowing up the plane, and I'm going to put it on Obama saying that blow that shit up too. That's in the check mark. But also with Obama, right? They were trying to get this guy for 15 years, 10 years. Like before 9/11 happened, they had information on this guy coming up in the rankings. Then 9/11 happened. They were getting him for 10 years. Obama was the one that got him. Playing spades. I'm just listing off things that were amazing. That makes me think Obama is one of them ones. During the stress of like everything, like the 20 minutes when it was happening, Obama went upstairs to play spades. And it made me think of me, like in a stressful moment, I'd probably be like, poker something, like just badass. A moment like this, risking American lives, he's going upstairs to play spades. How much did it go off again? All right, 36 seconds, we're getting to the end. Him going to play spades, just the way he just seemed to care about every single sense of this. He seemed to be cool, calm, and collected, but Obama's one of them ones. I'm saying, do you think they were talking to Obama while they're on the missions? No. I think they're asking for permission from the generals who answer to communicate with Obama. Yeah. I agree with that, but I guess A to Z in the planning, I think they knew, and they said in the documentary, right, like the youngest person in there was like, what do we do if the plane crashes? Because they were trying to, in the planning, think of every single thing that could happen. What do we do in the plane crashes? I think when you ask that question, for every question you asked, they were giving an answer of what we were doing. I don't know. I think they knew beforehand the plane could crash. A Hitler topic. That's interesting. I guess so. I mean, I do whatever chat wants. So if you want a Hitler topic, I'll look into it. But what with a Hitler topic? There's so many things with that. That's very interesting. But I'm just giving Obama credit for. I'm giving Obama a lot of credit with this for being a badass. And then the guy that made the speech. Last thing that was interesting on the Obama, the guy that made the speech when Obama came out and said that they had got Osama bin Laden at like 10:30 in the evening. That was just. This, like the guy that wrote the speech, and I'm a writer, this is interesting to me personally, was like, oh, give me time. He was talking about how important this was, and it just again seemed like Obama was very much a president that listened to counsel, trusted his counsel, and when it was time to make a move, did what he wanted to. It's a great balance of a leader, I think. And the last thing I'll say, I've said this is so much with this I could talk about for an hour. The last thing I'll say with Obama is I think it's interesting how they decided to bury him when they did it. They gave him his last Muslim rites, which is another interesting decision, because you could have the mindset this is an evil piece of shit. We're not following his religion, but there's like, I think, a respect for religion that a certain man will have if you're religious, of a religious mindset. But then they also buried him in the middle of the Indian Ocean, so they couldn't be a shrine to him. That balance, there's a lot of balance with Obama of being a dog but also seeming to be a human. Like, we're giving him his last Muslim rights, we'll follow his religion, and then we'll bury that motherfucker with the sharks and with the fishes in the middle of the Indian Ocean, because no one's gonna make a shrine for this guy. A certain type of balance, right? That I just think was amazing. That made me feel a way about Obama. Obama definitely gets credit for putting the trigger on the mission. I mean, that is, you can't argue that. Again, I didn't realize he didn't know that it was him. Has to get the credit, and the way they put it off, has to get the credit for that. And the last thing I'll say with this, and in the comments let me know what you think. At the end, the guy said, we won the battle killing bin Laden, but bin Laden weakened America because of the trillions of dollars that was spent on counterterrorism, the millions and trillions of dollars that was spent on trying to get this guy and the information, the countless people killed and taken away from their families, and how long the war in the Middle East went, how it divided the people in America, how it killed people, and down to how it's really going on in America today. It was interesting for me to think about, like, the effect of this war. He did seem to weaken America, but it's one of those things where it's a catch-22. You can't not kill that guy. You can't let him live. But it is interesting how it did seem to weaken America, and Al Qaeda and the terrorist organizations are stronger. Yep. So it is, and that's an interesting thing to think about too. Like, his goal to an extent did work, but it seems like you guys have both, whoever's watching, both of you have seen, everyone watching has seen this documentary, but go watch it if you haven't. And that's American Manhunt, Osama bin Laden. Let me take my last note. We're moving on. I talked about that a little too long, but that's okay. These are for the clips on the YouTube. I have to. We're trying to be organized. What are we at? An hour and 8 minutes, and I wanted this to only be like 28 minutes. So I'm gonna stream tomorrow. I'm not streaming on the topic. Like, okay, Roland Garros. We're gonna talk about that. Dave Portnoy, Kiki Irfin. I think we're gonna do Kiki Irfin and Dave Portnoy. I might just do their own episodes on my YouTube, or maybe stream those tomorrow. We'll see. Pretty much this background and uncovered things that's not talked about. I watched some docs, but I always found Hitler topic very interesting. I've done a lot of reading. I'm copying pasting this so I can put it in my notes. I've done a lot of reading on Hitler. Ian Carroll, if you haven't watched Ian Carroll on YouTube, I would say he has a lot of really, like, a lot of, I'll say Ian Carroll, and then Candace Owens YouTube. I know you might not like Candace Owens. I'm not going to get into that, but Ian Carroll talks about a lot of stuff, and he's on Candace Owens' show lately talking about things, and I think he's kind of talked about, like, Hitler conspiracy theory type things, or things that are not conspiracy theories. He like calls them digs. I got to do like a dig on it. There's so much to talk about with Hitler. I could do a show on that, but I have to, I'm trying to build viewers here. Those topics like that, like, get people shadow banned and shit. I'll talk about it. I'll figure out the respectful way to talk about it. I'll do my research. I talked about, watch some docs about something here. Talk very interesting. Like, what was his purpose for the things? Yeah. That is very interesting. Very interesting. I'll do an episode on that, an episode or a stream, but it has to be done the right way. Yeah, I feel like you have to, like, be very. I don't want to just be a conspiracy theorist idiot talking about Hitler, right? But that's a good topic, and let me see. It's in my notes, pretty much his background, and we'll fix that later because that's gonna piss me off. That weird thing. You guys can't see my other screen with the notes, but moving on, right? We're gonna finish with, what are we thinking? We're gonna finish with Roland Garros, right? We're going to finish with Roland Garros. We're going to start with the Women's Championship